understanding of what we're talking about. So we could try that.
Okay.
You ask me a question, and then I'll reply with just static responses, and then we can try it again dynamically. Or you two could do it.
That'd be more confusing that way.
Okay.
So, okay, how was school today?
Well, I didn't go to school today. How about my weekend?
Oh, okay.
My weekend, it was good. Let's ask me something.
What did you do?
I did a lot of things. I ate breakfast. I ate lunch. I went to the park. Now we can try it dynamically, because I gave you pretty much like a list.
Right.
So, how was your weekend?
It was good.
It's good. What'd you do?
Worked with the horses and went to the mall at lunch.
I'd love to see your horse. Do you have more than one horse?
No, I just have one, and I'm kind of helping take care of several others.
Where are they?
Up in Marlboro at the Westbrook Farm.
I love Upper Marlboro. I used to live in Upper Marlboro.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
Off of Croom Road.
Oh, okay.
I think that's still Upper Marlboro, isn't it called
Yes.
Upper Marlboro?
Yes. Yeah, the farm's off Van Brady.
Okay, I don't know what. And you, are there other horses there, or?
Yeah, the football player Brian Westbrook's horses are there. So.
Do you ever see famous people while you're working?
Just him.
Just him.
But he's not here because he's playing football.
His brother too, though.
Yeah,
his brother, his horse is there. You see the difference, though. One thing kind of expanded. We talked about where I lived. We talked about it expanded to football. It didn't. It wasn't just this linear kind of conversation where I only answered. I ate. I walked. I took care of the horse. It was really, it went in different ways. So I want you to kind of separate these out into what you think would be dynamic versus that instrumental kind of static communication. Because remember, instrumental is when you give people, you direct them. Do this, do this, do this, do this. So look at these things and try to divide them into what you think would be instrumental communication versus dynamic.
Not sure about that one. I don't know what this means. These two I'm not sure of.
Okay, so what did you do here? I don't know your piles. What is this pile, and is that all by itself over there?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what?
That'd be dynamic.
And that you think is static.
Static.
Do you want to change it in any way?
What social scripts mean?
When you rely on that static answer, whoops, I gave you the answer. When they rely on those, they go back to saying the things, those expressions or those things that they rely on, things that they've already scripted in their head, either reciting a movie or lines from a movie, or saying the things that you're supposed to. We do it too when you pass a stranger and they say, "Hi, how are you?" or "How you doing?" or you pass somebody in the hallway and you go, "How you doing?" even though you really don't even know that person. But you know how you do that? I think we all do that. That's kind of social scripting in my mind, in our world. But in autism, they often rely a lot on social scripts. I have one little boy I work with who, whenever there's like a lapse in conversation, even because he's one of these constant talker kind of kids, he'll say, "Would you like a sandwich?" It really doesn't even apply to the context of the setting, but it's a social script he relies on. He must have he hears that, or he feels like that's something I know I can say, and it's polite. But I think that's a social script. He's asking me a question, and it's really not even relevant to the situation, but it's a social script. It's relying on something that's kind of like a pet phrase, and you moved vocabulary over there, and you put social scripts in. look at social scripts as being pretty static. It's like it really doesn't have a whole lot of meaning. It's like when I'm saying you go down the hall and you say to somebody, "Good morning, how are you?" or "How you doing?" You really don't think about it. And I'm not so. If that person stopped and said, "Well, you know, I had a really terrible morning. I overslept and stuff," you would probably be stunned because it's somebody you don't even know their name. Does that make sense? And I agree that I think of vocabulary as being static, because vocabulary means you have the words and you have meaning for those words, but statically. Of course, we use vocabulary in all of our communication. That's, like I said, vocabulary was that was the ball. So without the foundation, so that's why it could go either way. I see where your dilemma there. If you have the foundation, if you have the dynamic stuff, then vocabulary certainly is dynamic. But if you don't have this stuff, vocabulary is very static. So I wanted you to think about that. I want to do a little framing bit of with "I need help" or "I want to hang out with you." Now, I don't know, he's really into video games too, isn't he?
Yes.
And that's really static. But you could make it a little bit more dynamic if it was, "Let's go to Blockbuster and we're going to pick a new video game out together," without talking about it. Like, you know, thinking about it. I like this one because it has army men in it. And wait. Skylar, I notice when I see him at school, if you wait, he eventually makes a comment. But we don't wait long enough sometimes. I'm all uncomfortable with filling that gap. Like my little guy who says, "Do you want a sandwich?"